Okay, this is my post-fight video for Gennady Golvokin versus Martin Murray. I call this fight a lamb to slaughter, and a lot of people slagged me off and said really that was pretty harsh for me to say. Martin Murray would do this, Martin Murray would do that. What did we know going into the fight? We knew Martin Murray was big, he was strong, he'd fought 2 world champions, and you could say arguably he should be a double world champion based on 2 fights he had. He got the short end of the stick, and in both fights, when the fight went to the scorecards, Murray didn't get the wins. So we knew that he could fight at world level. There was no doubt about that. Gennady Golvokin, we know, is a huge puncher, knows how to close the range down, good boxing ability, and underrated boxing brain. So coming into this fight, the other thing we knew is that Martin Murray wasn't a puncher. So a lot of people expected Murray to get a knockout in this fight. I wasn't expecting to see that. What I was expecting to see of Martin Murray, or basically he would have a game plan, working weeks and weeks with Oliver Harrison, and then when he got in the ring against Gennady Golvokin and he tasted the power, he'd get onto the back foot and Gennady would chase him around the ring. And that's exactly what happened. Gennady hit him in the body. I said that would be the way to work Martin Murray. Martin Murray, the game plan for me was like this. Martin Murray came in with the game plan to try and win. Okay, he generally came in to win. When he got hit hard by GGG, the game plan changed for fighting to win a world title to fighting for your life. And that's literally what was happening. Martin Murray was in that ring fighting for his life. And there has to be a time in a fight where you've got to say to yourself, you know what? This guy's not going to win the fight. He hits Golvokin with his best shot, and Golvokin doesn't move anywhere. You know, and for me, Golvokin showed just why he needs to move out of the middleweight division and move up to the super middleweight division, because he was able to stand in front of Martin Murray. Now, this is a guy who's elite, one of the best middleweights in the world. Elite, stood in front of him, took his best shots, patiently walked him down. The shots he threw that knocked Murray down were effortless. And the finish, well, to be honest, I believe, in my personal opinion, that I would never have sent Martin Murray out for the next round, because he was getting beat up round after round after round. And the fight wasn't, people say the fight was competitive. Not really. Yeah, he was throwing a few punches back, but he was fighting back to defend himself and protect himself. There was no way in that fight, no point in time was Martin Murray in that fight winning. So for people to say, oh, this is a great performance from Martin Murray, the guy was fighting for his life. And the fight wasn't close in my mind. And it was just a big, strong guy in there. That Martin Murray was reduced to a big, strong guy in there who was just soaking up punishment round after round after round. That's what it was. And what you do when you're soaking up punches, you throw punches to keep the guy off you, and that's what it was. Martin Murray was throwing punches to keep Gennady Golvokin off him. He wasn't throwing the punches in any shape or form to try and stop Golvokin, or to really put him onto the back foot and keep him there. He was fighting to keep Golvokin off of him. And like I said, you can train for weeks on end, but when you get hit by Golvokin, then your game plan changes. So a great performance. I don't believe everyone's rushing for this Cotto fight. I don't believe Cotto gives Gennady Golvokin the challenge that he's necessary. Simply because I think that the fight Cotto had against Martinez made Cotto look a lot better than he actually is. Simply because I don't think Cotto is a big middleweight, where you've got Gennady Golvokin, who's a big middleweight, a middleweight that can punch and can box. And I don't see how Cotto. And you've seen Cotto rocked, hurt, stopped at middleweight. I don't know how much punishment Cotto can absorb by someone who's a big hitter in in GGG. What fight I'd like to see is Karl Froch versus Gennady Golvokin. You've got a guy there that Froch won't take a backward step, and if he's taking backward steps, Gennady Golovkin's got his number. But if Froch stands in front of him, which he will do, and really try to put Gennady on the back foot, which he'll try and do, then we've got a great fight between Gennady Golvokin and Karl Froch. That's one fight I would like to see. The other fight I'd love to obviously is Andre Ward versus Gennady Golovkin. I think that would be a great fight. But we need to see what Ward's like when he comes back, and we need to see him in competitive fights. So that fight will be something down the line. I think even Abel Sanchez himself believes that that would be advisable for Ward. So you get the very best Andre Ward fighting the very best Gennady Golovkin. For Martin Murray, I think he took way too many punches in that fight. I would have preferred to see Martin Murray fight Cotto. I think that even if he'd got beat by Cotto, I don't think he would have got beat in the same fashion that he was getting beaten by not just a puncher, but a devastating puncher as that against Golovkin. I think against Cotto, he may have gone 12 rounds against Cotto. He may have stood a good chance against Cotto, being a physically big middleweight, where that would have been probably an advantage against someone like Cotto. I'm not saying he would have beaten Cotto, but he probably would have given Cotto a better fight than Gennady Golovkin does. So for me, when you're making predictions against guys like Gennady Golovkin or Kovalev, the first thing you've got to ask yourself is, will the guy that you're backing in the opposite corner be able to fight their fight and not be distracted by the power? Will they be able to fight their fight consistently? And that's the first thing you got to ask yourself. Whoever the opponent is that's going to fight Gennady Golovkin, will they be able to take the power and be able to have enough firepower themselves to throw back to offset the power and what Gennady Golovkin does? That's the first question you got to ask yourself. If they've got like 12 or 13 knockouts, forget it. You need to go with a guy who's got just as good punch power. Okay? So you need somebody who's got a good punch power, and you need somebody that can soak it up. You know, I tell you, another guy would be an interesting fight against Gennady Golovkin, thinking about it now, is Arthur Abraham. And do you know why? Because Abraham keeps his hands up, and if you can get Gennady to walk against the ropes, that would be a good fight. Problem is, with Arthur Abraham, he leaves his body open. But we do know Abraham can punch. So again, that would be an interesting fight. And that would be an interesting fight. That would be a fight I'd love to see. Whether Abraham can actually go out there and hurt Gennady is another question altogether. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the fight. Whether Martin Murray is going to be the same fighter after this fight remains to be seen. As for Gennady Golovkin, people will say he got caught with some punches. He got hit. Yes, he got hit. This is boxing. It's elite boxing, and it's boxing at the highest level, I think. There's very few other people in the middleweight division, I believe, that are going to stand in front of Gennady Golovkin and throw punches back like that. So, yeah, those are my thoughts. And on a side note, Chris Eubank Sr. believes that Chris Eubank Jr. Can beat Gennady Golovkin. After what I saw tonight, again from Gennady Golovkin, I'd like to know what monocle Mr. Eubank is looking at this through, because I don't see Chris Eubank Jr. couldn't get Billy Joe Saunders out of there. No disrespect to Billy Joe Saunders here. And Billy Joe Saunders is not the sort of puncher that Gennady Golovkin is. The question you got to ask yourself is, what happens when Gennady Golovkin lands on Chris Eubank Jr.? I think it's boy against man, to be honest, and I don't think at this stage of the game the two names should be even mentioned in the same breath. Let me know what you think. I'm out. Take care.